How's it going, people? Welcome back to the Pointless Polo project. I'm JB, and today I'm going to be showing you how I wrapped my VW Polo 9N's dashboard in carbon fibre. As I'm sure you're aware, many luxury and high performance cars have carbon fibre interior features, either as standard or as options, but more affordable cars, like my Polo, tend not to come with these high spec options. Therefore, as part of this series of doing the cheapest and easiest modifications to my VW Polo, I decided to update her interior to look more like that of a McLaren or a Lamborghini and less like a scratched up mess. Also, as you know, carbon fibre makes cars lighter, so I reckon doing the dashboard alone will make your car approximately 400% lighter, meaning my Polo now weighs around minus 3,000 kilograms, give or take. On a more serious note, I thought it would be fun and challenging to do this mod to my Polo, especially since I didn't use a heat gun and removed no parts of the dashboard to complete the job. This did make things a little bit more tricky in terms of getting the best result, but if you're strapped for time and still want a nice carbon fibre interior, this is the perfect example for you. Remember to like, comment and subscribe for more videos like this, and hit that bell icon to stay up to date on the Pointless Polo project. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. So to complete this job, you'll need some A4 paper, maybe bigger depending on the width of your dashboard, a pencil or pen, an art or craft knife, I use both a Swiss Army knife and an art knife for different tasks, some type of adhesive tape, something you don't mind cutting into like a cardboard box, and, of course, some sticky carbon fibre wrap, or any other type of wrap for that matter. I chose dry carbon fibre for my interior, but you could also find glossy examples for the same price. Mine only cost me around £7, which is pretty decent. The first step is to decide which parts of your dashboard you plan on wrapping. If you're planning to wrap the same area as I am, you'll almost certainly need to make templates using the A4 paper in order to get the wrap around more tricky areas like the buttons, dials, radio, etc. If you're doing the bigger open sections, then you might not need to make templates. For example, I didn't need templates for the steering wheel, which simply required cutting large enough sections of the wrap to stick over the plastic parts. The steering wheel was certainly the easy part. Using the sections of the wrap, I simply stretched them over the plastic parts and cut around the edges with a knife to clean it up. In terms of the badge, it was a similar story. I simply stuck a section over as tight as possible to ensure there were no bubbles, then cut out the unnecessary sections covering the badge and the outer sections. For the more complex sections, I stuck sheets of A4 paper over different parts of the dashboard to make templates. When the paper is firmly attached, you can press down on it and see where the buttons, dials and gaps are. I use my nails to form creases in the paper to outline where I would need to cut. I then use a pencil to draw over these creases and labelled each section just to be certain of where I would need to cut. Do this for all complex sections of the main console. For me, this took a few sheets of A4 to get all the upper sections of buttons and vents, the lower section of AC dials, and the middle section with the radio and storage bit. I also did it for the side vents, but only one template is needed for this as they're obviously both the same thing. Having made the templates, I returned to the comfort of my bedroom to cut them out using the craft knife, leaving a bit of leeway to ensure the wrap would definitely fit over the dashboard sections. Any extra wrap can always be removed afterwards. Once the templates are cut into the A4 paper, you can stick them to the wrap to use as a guide for cutting out the ideal shape using the craft knife. Again, I left a tiny bit more leeway to ensure the wrap covers all of the sections of the dashboard, but if you're a legend who backs your templates to be perfect, you don't have to do this. I just did it for safety. Once I had a nice set of cut carbon fibre wrap to stick into my car, it was time to return to the vehicle to begin the process of sticking it all down. As I did not use a heat gun, it was very difficult to stick the wrap to sections without causing bubbles. If you have a heat gun, it's much easier to get rid of these. For the perfect application, stretch the wrap as much as you can to reduce the likelihood of any bubbles or lines. For smaller sections, it is possible to remove the entire backside of the vinyl wrap and stick it down nice and slow, using either your fingers or a flat object like a credit card to stick everything down with good consistency. For larger sections like the main part of the dashboard, I tried to rip out the back part bit by bit to ensure none of the wrap ended up sticking to itself, as this would just be super annoying. This can take a very long time to do properly, so be prepared to put in some time to make sure there are as few bubbles or imperfections as possible. Having done this job, I can see why people remove these parts and wrap them off of the car. It would certainly have made life a lot easier. As each section sticks down, you can clean up the edges and any imperfections by using a very thin craft knife. By cutting down into the gaps, you can very easily ensure the wrap covers only the sections that it's supposed to. You can also use a craft knife for the finer details like the corners and smaller edges that run over. Be careful not to damage the actual sections of wrap though. This job is all about making the wrap look as if it was an OEM option, not an afterthought. One thing to make sure of as well is that the wrap is always applied in the same direction. If you're doing one colour or something without a pattern, this is not important, but with carbon fibre it would be easy to mix the pattern so that some sections are horizontal while others are vertical. Uniformity is key in this regard. I had all of mine horizontal, as this matched the carbon fibre radio. When all the wrap is on, you'll likely have numerous bubbles and imperfections. This is when the fun starts. You'll need to peel and restick to get the more tenacious imperfections out, and use a credit card to push any remaining bubbles to the edge of the wrap so they can be expelled. This can take a really long time without a heat gun, but it is possible. When you're happy with how it looks and have minimised the amount of bubbles, you're pretty much done. I did a few more checks with the craft knife to ensure everything was flush before finishing. Here's my final product. There are still imperfections that I'll be removing soon, but I'll likely just succumb to the pressure and use a heat gun to make my life a little bit easier. For now, I'm happy with how it looks, and it gets quite a few comments and laughs from friends for the creativity. I'm considering wrapping the door handles in carbon fibre too, so let me know your thoughts via the poll on screen or in the comments down below. I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and have taken inspiration for wrapping the interior of your car. If you did enjoy it, remember to like and subscribe, as I've got so much more exciting content coming up in the near future. And if you haven't seen my last video where I spray paint the hubcaps black, click the link in the outro. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Listen.